the beginning was that this ecosystem is fairly new, which means that it consisted of ad hoc, sporadic nucleuses of activity which are happening in different parts of the country at different levels of the ecosystem with different stakeholders, but none of that was consolidated into one single place where you could actually access informations which are relevant to anybody that wanted to engage with a startup in terms of financing a startup, or anybody that is a startup that wanted to find finance. The way that we went towards tackling these challenges was basically, first of all, to identify the key stakeholders, map out who are the players in the ecosystem, and try and identify the one that is best poised to consolidate all this data. So we actually identified that in an organization called Startup Macedonia, made of very enthusiastic young people which wanted to similarly organize the startup ecosystem.
We see Startup Macedonia as an integrator, as the one that actually is a single voice of the ecosystem itself, integrating and connecting all the stakeholders that are jointly putting an effort to make this ecosystem great. We wanted to have a single depository of information, a single point where all the startups can get information about the active programs, events, etc. So we went with a new approach of creating a focused digital database that is data-driven, and in that way we are always giving fresh information, and startups and organizations can plan their activities. We managed in these 2 years working together to actually create bond linkages to a number of stakeholders that were not in the first circle of the ecosystem, including a lot of work with ministries, work with the government, and also other stakeholders. And this ended up being the steering committee that actually is now working in favor of the ecosystem for the first time in North Macedonia. With the steering committee and the trip we actually had all together going to Israel, we actually managed to connect with the stakeholders that were just touching the boundaries of the startup ecosystem and where Startup Macedonia was working. And for the first time we started working on policies and engaging a lot of actors that were helping in favor of startups.
The main role of SEED Macedonia is through its business angel, the SEED Business Angel Club, which is compiled of SEED members, entrepreneurs who are willing to invest and support startups. This cooperation with the Business Ecosystem Project also enabled us with one more important activity or collaboration or partnership, and that is exactly with the Macedonian Stock Exchange and their FunderBeam platform. That also is another form of investing and gives another opportunity for startups to expand. The platform actually also requires that the startup has a local investor, a lead investor, which in our case could be one of our business angels, and can very well complement the second round of investment into the startups.
What we had in mind and what goals we wanted to achieve when we first put the idea of equity crowdfunding platform FunderBeam on the table is to continue with the strong promotion of the idea for alternative financing of companies, and to envision potential IPOs and listing on the exchange for small businesses that will face with positive success and growth.
We as an element within the ecosystem, I believe we achieved to be visible at disposal and to bring our services and possibilities as close as possible to those that are there, that basically for which we exist. It was a perfect match between an open source of funding and communication, an encouraged group of people that wanted to start something, and then, of course, there was a missing link, which was basically someone that will actually put this into a proper format and enable those people to properly communicate what they have in their view.
Ever since the beginning of the Business Ecosystem Project, financed by USAID, implemented by Palladium, our goal was to try and promote and instigate activity in entrepreneurship sector through working with the startup ecosystem and all the stakeholders which are a part of this ecosystem. The idea is for us to embed these capacities within the organizations that we work with and have them continue on to our work, which is also a part of USAID's journey to self-reliance goal.
This topic was not something that was very popular, let's say, in the last 2 years, but we see it gradually becoming the most important topic in the country, especially because the startups are the drivers of the economy and the new powerhouses of North Macedonia. The fact is there are many resources that are not utilized or are just unknown to startups. So we did wanted to make a place where these resources will be available, and plus for external investors, venture capital funds, angel investors would easily browse startups that are active in fundraising, and in that way bridge the gap that we already have in the part of access to funding.
This was very important collaboration and partnership that we started with the Macedonian Stock Exchange and the Funderbill platform, and we hope that very soon we're going to have the first startup that is going to get or receive funds from the Business Angel Club, but also go to a second round on Funderbill.
I want to stress that we are not lacking young, motivated entrepreneurs. Indeed, like in many other countries, we have them already. What we're missing is well set up and organized ecosystem. There was really positive movement in building this infrastructure, and we strongly believe that we as Macedonia Stock Exchange, through the Funderbill platform activities and through this project, with all other stakeholders and community, we will build strong, develop and sustainable startup ecosystem.